Welcome to episode 139 of the Inside Byte. I'm your host, Tim Schafer. I'm here with my co-host, Rudy. How you doing this week?
Hey, Tim. I'm doing great. I think that I finally got bit by the Final Fantasy bug. It's so weird. I've been waiting for this game for so many years, right? Oh, let's go back to when Remake came out. Day one, I was there. I was super excited to wait into it, right? This one, I'm not going to say I wasn't excited. I definitely was excited, but I was just so busy. I got sick for a little while, right, when it first came out. And it's so weird that I've had this game we've been waiting 4 years for, and I wasn't all over it. But then, I had some time, and now I'm 100% in. I'm just 100% sold. I think it's great, which we'll talk more about. But yeah, that's all I've been doing with my free time. Just play Final Fantasy whenever I can.
Well, I must know where you at, though? How far?
So, I have not progressed the story, at all. I've just been going around the grass. I think it's so interesting how they added so much to it, but these things don't bother me. Some people might look at this and be like, oh, well, this wasn't in the original game. I don't care about this stuff, but I find this stuff fascinating. I love going and fighting the enemies and trying to do the little three conditions. You got to meet, or activating the towers, or doing the crystals that give you more info, or the chocobo things. I just think it's all great. I have so much fun just running around the grasslands, leveling up my characters, listen to a podcast or something. And then I still have a great story whenever I want to move on, So I'm loving it. That's what I've been doing.
What you just said of the 3 challenges when you're fighting the monsters, for example. So I've done maybe 20 of these, but there is only one that I haven't done all 3 on. And the amount of times I've tried is I had to have tried 30 times on this one particular one.
Oh my God.
And I cannot get it for the life of me. But I've done all 3 and everything else. Not to say that those weren't also hard, but there's just something about it is actually one in the grasslands for some reason. I can't seem to stagger, but that's whenever I first started. I'm now in the 3rd, if not 4th region. I'm trying to remember. Okay. So I want to go back because now I know exactly how to not stagger. Sorry.
Oh, pressure.
Yes. I didn't know how to pressure at that time. Now I do. Do you know how to pressure?
So I don't know if you know this already, but the only reason I know this is because I watched one of those 10 things I wish I knew before playing Final Fantasy.
Okay.
Right? I watched the whole video, and there were a few little things that were, might be useful. But one thing stood out to me that I feel like many people probably don't know. So when you go into battle and you use assess, right, and you get the info on the enemy, it tells you how to pressure them, how to stagger them, their weaknesses, whatever. I did not know that in the future now, anytime I fight that enemy, I just press the touchpad and it pops up with everything. I don't have to assess them again.
Oh, okay. I didn't know this entire time.
This is so useful. It's literally changed the game for me,
so
right?
I don't have to actually use assess? I mean, I have to initially maybe to get just the data once to begin with. Yeah.
Yep. So, okay, I'm glad you didn't know that because it's such a huge change. I find myself pressing touchpad way more now. God. And let's say you fight, 2 enemies. Let's say you've assessed one of them. When you press the touchpad, it'll be on whatever enemy you're targeting currently, right? And then if you switch over, it'll be question mark, whatever. So I always just get in there, do one assess. Dude, it's such a game changer, especially when you're in a hard battle and you want to know, how do I pressure him? How do I stagger him? Whatever. Super useful. So, okay, I'm glad I could pass that one off to you and anyone else who's listening. Man, that made such a change for me. The only other one that I saw was useful was they said to change the targeting from basically when you're targeting someone, you look to the right, it'll whip over to them. It won't go locked in order, I guess. That was a nice little tip. Nothing crazy, but it was something,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man, that one was a game changer, though. Man, so useful. Such a smart idea, too.
Now, we'll get into it when we're watching what we're playing. Yeah, I do have a lot of things to say on it. I did think of something. I don't know if we necessarily need to make this a main topic, but before we started the show, you mentioned, you wanted to watch Last Day in Media's recent one with Jonathan Blow.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're just really into any of his games.
His games. Yeah. Braid, Witness.
Yeah. So I just listened to... It was an hour and a half of just pure pain because they were talking about emulation, and everyone doesn't mention the one reason why I emulate because other people are skirting maybe this or that and not really touching on it. And I think I could just ask you, why do I emulate? And I think you could answer this. And if I do it for this reason, I feel it's the biggest reason that anyone emulates if it's not about piracy.
Right. Well, if I had to take a guess, I mean, hopefully I'm right. I feel like I've heard you say before, I want to emulate this. I want to see how it runs, how it performs. Like, you want to kind of get a feel for it. That's the one thing I remember you saying.
If I emulate something and play it and beat it, like I'm actually playing on an emulator for a specific reason, not to try. I mean, I do that, but if I'm actually genuinely playing it and I'm choosing to play there.
Sure.
Okay, so it's power. It's so I can.
That's kind of what I was trying to get at, like the frame rates and the higher performance. Because you said that with was it Metroid? Maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
There was one game that's kind of what I was getting at, like the performance. You want to see how it feels. Can it, like, because I remember I've heard you say literally, well, if it runs at 30 on the Switch, it doesn't feel good. I'm gonna try it here, and if it runs better, I'm gonna play here. So yeah, that makes sense.
That's what I thought you meant, like just so I could try a game out before I buy it.
Oh no, when I say get a feel, I meant like the frame rate. The performance, you know what I mean, like that kind of thing. So I think that's
because nobody wants to mention this, and I think, and I'm way into the emulation scene, and whenever I'm even like, let's say a certain person I'm subscribing to on YouTube, they're posting videos about like, here's a PSP game but in 4K 60 or something, right? Or like, here's these new emulation features of like, hey, an old PS1 game, but now it's like, when we upscale it, it used to like warp textures. Now it doesn't. Stuff like that. Like, that's what I'm into, is like, I'm not into emulating an NES or Super Nintendo game. I don't really get anything out of that. The game's going to run good regardless on the original platform, new stuff. I can play all that stuff on like, like Switch is at least decent about like bringing old games and playing classic stuff, all that. I'm into like PS1, PS2, maybe Dreamcast systems to where if I were to play them on the original hardware, they would run like crap. So I want to run them on emulation so they run better. Even like PS3, like so much emulation. Actually, I do PS3 emulation because I get way better when I play Metal Gear Solid 4. I can play it on original hardware. I don't want to, because you're talking 15, 20 FPS half the game. Or I can play it on an emulator and get a lot better experience. So I'm playing emulation for that reason. I think if it's not 100% of the time, it's like 90% of the time. I can't think of any other reason outside of like, oh, I wonder what this game, just so I could like fool around with like an old game, but I actually don't want to sit there and play it. I just want to see what it is. Maybe fool around with it like 30 minutes. I could see me using emulation for that reason. Other than that, if I'm actually sitting down playing the game through emulation and playing it seriously, it's because I'm trying to get a performance boost out of it. Or like a PlayStation 1 game looks super ugly, but if I play it through emulator, it looks so much better, and so I'll play there.
Yeah, no, I can definitely attest to this as someone who's been friends with Tim for a while. This is literally what you say every time. So I don't think it's BS at all or anything. I know that there's people who like, well, I just don't want to buy the game. Okay, of course you're gonna have those people.
Yeah, I wonder, where things sort of stand, like percentage wise. I'm sure there's a large amount of audience that's just being cheapskates, right? And they're just trying to download, power play, whatever. I'd be doubtful on that being the majority. I don't think that's the majority. The majority of people, they just wouldn't play it. Unless they have the money, they go and buy it. Right. There's plenty of other games to play. There's plenty of other options. I don't think people are like going through all these efforts to try to emulate just because they don't want to buy it. They would just play something else or buy something else. I don't know.
And there's so many people who like just wouldn't be bothered to try to figure out how to do it. I'm sure you can figure out how to do it pretty simply, but a lot of people, including myself, I just haven't messed with it much just because I don't feel the need to. But the people who do put in the time, I feel like you're right. I feel like most of them
it's for optimization reasons. I feel the same would be the same with anyone else that we know. Anyone that I'm thinking of in my head of like a friend or something, they're playing it through emulation to optimize the game. They're not they're not playing it because they just don't want to buy it. I just feel that's so I don't know. I can see like a kid, like if you're younger, right? You're like 12, 13, 14, 15, you don't have a job and you're just trying to play this or that. Yeah, you're going to pirate more, you're going to download more, emulate more, all that. But any adult, I can't see them going down this avenue just to avoid having to buy it.
Sure. No, I agree with you. And I don't really see anything wrong with that. Hey, if this is the only way we can run it at what it should run at, then hey, I don't blame you.
Now, this is dumb and nobody should be doing this, but like, okay, I bought Tears of the Kingdom digital, right? And then I found it physical. I was like, ooh, I'll buy it so I can keep it sealed, right? Yet here I am, 2 copies. Yet I'm emulating it because I want to maybe mess around with mods as well. I just thought about that because that's another big reason of like, basically anything that you couldn't normally do in its normal experience, that's more the point towards emulation. It's not to get around purchasing the game. I don't think that's the majority of people emulating.
Yeah, I think you're probably right, honestly.
Anyway, so yeah, just listen to all that. And it wasn't mentioned a single time the whole hour and a half discussing all of this stuff because we'll get into it here. And it actually is a news story I have, unless I didn't include it. Let's see. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, though, but I want to see if I put it in here in the notes. No, I guess not. So, Yuzu, Nintendo.
Oh, yes.
They basically settled in court $2.4 million that Nintendo got from Yuzu, and Yuzu shut down. They closed the domain, gave it over to Nintendo. Now, here's the thing. There's already, if not 10 copies of this thing at this point, because the source code was out there. They shut it down. People already had access to its builds and stuff like that. So people can just cut off from this fork in the road, build their own build on top of it, and here it goes out again. So it in no way is it's like now there's not a Switch emulator. 1, there's other emulators outside of Yuzu, but 2, you could totally people are just taking and running with what Yuzu did anyway. But it's more of just what you would think, to make a statement, to scare people, to be like, hey, they don't want people building, especially if the Switch 2 is going to come out here soon. I guess they announced that it's not coming out this year. I forget if we covered that on a show or not, but they did say it wouldn't be until next year at the earliest. So I think this is a play towards like, hey, let's take out the biggest player in this space. That way they don't work towards right whenever this new system comes out, trying to figure out how to break into it, right? Yep. And but even, again, that was the whole discussion, was like, well, they couldn't figure out why people would, of all things, Switch emulation. Why would you do Switch? It's currently out. It can easily be accessible and played. It makes no sense. And the whole time I'm just screaming because of optimization, because of making it run better, look better. Like,
I see. So no one ever mentions that from what you've seen. Okay. I see.
And I'm just
that's kind of strange. I would feel like that would be one of the top reasons why people would say. So.
Yeah. Well, this was, again, it was just within this podcast with I forget his name, but it's like the lawyer guy that comes on their show a lot.
Oh, I forgot his name, but I totally
he's big on YouTube, and he's just like lawyer that's also a gamer, so he does a lot of like gaming lawyer stuff. It's like Hogg's Law, something.
Hogue, I think.
There we go.
Yeah, that's what it was. Anyway. I completely forgot his name too.
But yes, that did happen. All got shut down. Citra is also shut down because the same people that made Citra, which is a 3DS emulator, is also the same people that did the Yuzu.
It's the same people, I see.
Yeah. So that is now shut down. Now, again, like, people can already take what they build, what they literally got, a few days ago, and then just re-release it under a new umbrella, and then so people can still access it. But
they're not going to be able to stop it, obviously.
Their Patreon was making like $30,000 a month. So they were making a lot of money, and that's where it gets into like, I don't know if I really like that, because people were basically subscribing for the Patreon for like early builds, so they didn't have to wait till like a week or 2 later for a certain like update to something coming out. There's really nothing more to say on the Nintendo Yuzu stuff. I mean, there's a lot we can get into, but I don't know.
It's a big discussion, but I don't think we really need to delve into it right now.
In terms of just your I don't know, morality barometer when it comes to Emulation with you. I mean, I can easily understand why a company wouldn't want this to happen. Duh, they want...
Of course, yeah.
Not only, it's not like somebody is just going and downloading Yuzu and magically they can now just play whatever Switch game they want. There's far more to it. And even getting the games itself, it's not like Yuzu was sharing the games. It's not like any of that. So it makes me wonder, like, I don't know, what do you think is okay and not okay when it comes to Emulation?
Honestly, the same way that I feel about, you know, like people pirating, you know, movies or TV shows or whatever. Listen, do I think it's the right thing to do? Probably not. Does it bother me that much? No, only because I know that the market will always, like, whenever people say, hey, we made this video game, we're selling this much, they're always taking into account these things that will never leave, right? Like GTA sold this much, even with people illegally, you know, pirating their game or movies or whatever. This is just like a part of life that will never change, you know? That being said, also, if everyone who played video games was out here knowing how to do this or taking the time and effort to do it, we might be having a different conversation, right? That would like really cut into their line. But we know it's not. We know it's a minority of people, and a lot of people are doing it for the same reasons you're doing it. A lot of people will still buy the game anyway. So I necessarily don't really have a problem with it. However, when I see people post, Nintendo sucks, I can't believe they sued these guys, I'm like, really? Like,
yeah, no, I get why Nintendo would do this.
Even if I'm okay with it, I still understand why they would do it. You know, it's almost like that to me just seems like you just hate Nintendo just because they're Nintendo. You know, like that one doesn't make sense. But yeah, for me personally, I don't. It's whatever. It doesn't really bug me. You know.
Yeah.
I try to do what I can. You know. If it's me personally, even if I could get the game for free, I'll try to, you know, support a game if it's a game I really like or a studio I really like or something, you know. But yeah.
I see it. I mean, you made a good point of I see it exact same way as I would like a TV show or a movie or something like that. Right. If it's easily accessible, I'm gonna pay the Netflix, the HBO Max, the whatever, or just buy to rent it or buy to own it, whatever the case is, right? Because that's a lot easier. Plus, I don't, you know, like I feel a little slimy just going around pirating this or that when something's so easily accessible. The very moment it is not accessible, that's whenever I'm like going on websites trying to find how to view this movie or this show or whatever the case is, right?
I agree.
If it's on Netflix, even let's say weirdly, I went like a few months without being subscribed to Netflix for like the first time in years, and I'm already resubbed again. But during that period, I remember there was something, I do want to watch a Netflix, whatever. I'll just wait till, you know, I have a sub for it again. I'll watch it and it's not a big deal. I don't like the only thing I can imagine again is if I just some way couldn't be able to access it to begin with. And then I'd be finding other ways to try to access it. Otherwise, I'm not trying to sit there and pirate things. I don't know. It would have to be a really... I remember when I was... Like, even right now, when it comes to, like, video editing software, I use Shotcut, which is a open source, free program, whatever. But I genuinely love it. But years back, whenever I was, like, late teenager, early 20s... I remember pirating video editing software because these things would cost like $600, $700, sometimes $1,000 for these things. And here I am like 18, 19. Yeah, I'm not paying that. I'll find a way to see if I can rig it to get it to work and all that, right? But video games, I don't know, 20, 30, 40, 60, 70 at the most. This isn't like $1,000 that we're needing to sort of like scratch our heads over if we should invest or not. And it's a single experience instead of like something you're going to plug away like hundreds of hours to try to work on stuff. Like it's a very different ball game. I don't think people are emulating just to pirate.
I don't think so either. Right. I think it's something that's not going to change, you know?
Yeah. Okay. So first news story here. Okay. Crash Bandicoot 4, Spyro Reignited Trilogy devs Toys for Bob is splitting from Activision. So Toys for Bob, the studio behind games like Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, Spyro Reignited Trilogy, the Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, has announced it's splitting from its owner Activision Blizzard to go independent. It is also exploring a partnership with Microsoft. Now, obviously that sounds very weird if you know the story of like, okay, well, Microsoft now owns Activision. So they're splitting from Activision, but yet they're interested in still working with Microsoft. Clearly, they just don't want to be working on Call of Duty stuff because that's what they kept trying to get them to do. Activision was like, they're trying to get all these different branches within Activision all pouring in to help with the next Call of Duty. And, you know, various companies within an umbrella are clearly sick of it and want to actually work on more creative things and more fun things, you know. And not only did it a fantastic job with, okay, I could see like an argument, oh, well, you know, they're just working on remakes, remasters, whatever. But Crash Bandicoot 4 is a genuinely great game and a new game at that they worked on. So they clearly have a lot of talent. Also, that Tony Hawk 1 and 2 remastered, I mean, remake, whatever. It's so drastically different from the original titles, and to where it's just its own thing at that point, and it's really, really good. Like I think this company is fantastic, and it's always been so annoying that I think there was a story even 6 months ago, year at the latest, where they basically were like, Toys for Bob is going to be no more working on independent projects, and they somehow announced it in some weird way of that they really are just doing Call of Duty. But in between their titles, they were also still doing Call of Duty work. But anyway, so here's their statement in full. We're thrilled to announce that Toys for Bob is spinning off as an independent game development studio. Over the years, we inspired love, joy, and laughter for the inner child in all gamers. We pioneered new IP in hardware technologies and Skylanders. We raised the bar for best-in-class remasters in Spyro Reignited Trilogy. We've taken Crash Bandicoot to innovative, critically acclaimed new heights. With the same enthusiasm and passion, we believe that now is the time to take the studio and our future games to the next level. This opportunity allows us to return to our roots of being a small and nimble studio. To make this news even more exciting, we're exploring a possible partnership between our new studio and Microsoft. And while we're in the early days of developing our new game and new ways away from making any announcements, our team is excited to develop new stories, new characters, and new gameplay experiences. Our friends at Activision and Microsoft have been extremely supportive in our direction, and we're confident that we will continue to work closely together as part of our future. So keep your horns and your eyes out for more news. Thank you to our community and players for always supporting us through our journey. We can't wait to share updates on our new adventure as an indie studio. Talk to you soon. Now, the one thing that I see over any of this, if they really are showing, well, we still would like to work with Microsoft if they're game with that. I hope they are, because what this could mean is a genuinely good Banjo-Kazooie game. Yes, that's what I want out of this, because
we need that.
It would be right up their alley. They are great at 3D platformers, clearly really based off the previous work, and they would be the perfect studio to do this.
I can't say because I didn't play Yooka-Laylee. I only played a bit of the platformer one.
Yeah, I didn't like. I played Yooka-Laylee, the 3D platformer. Didn't like it. It was mediocre's giving it maybe too much praise. I actually thought it was a little bad.
I played the 2D one though,
but that one's good.
I did like that.
Yes, yes, like much better game. But yeah, this would be cool. I really would love to see a Banjo-Kazooie.
I would like that too, honestly.
Yeah.
God, it's been so many years, man. That would really bring me back.
Okay.
All right. So, by the way, I will say, before I talk about Dragon's Dogma 2, I didn't play Dragon's Dogma 1.
Me either.
I saw a lot of videos. I always heard great things about it. And I always heard that a lot of people that like Souls games really like these games. They inspired some things in Souls and vice versa. Yeah. So I think I'm all in on 2, honestly. It really, really kind of got my interest. So anyway, Dragon's Dogma 2. Go ahead. What were you saying?
The first one apparently is a great Steam Deck game. I actually purchased it for like $6 or $7 on a sale of like the newer version and installed it on it. Still have yet to start it. And that's the problem is like, I'm not going to play that right now. I'm playing Final Fantasy, but yeah, it would be neat, but I'm probably, if I do play, I'll just start with a new.
I know I'm going to be playing Final Fantasy still, obviously, but I'm considering getting it and just playing on my Steam Deck, so we'll see. Anyway, Dragon's Dogma 2 has just one save file to encourage exploration. Oh my God. Dragon's Dogma 2 hits PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC on March 22nd. And when you boot it up for the first time, you might learn that it only has one save file. The gamer reported on that news after an IGN Japan preview from earlier this year revealed console players will be stuck with just one single save files, making things like reverting to all saves all but impossible. When IGN Japan's preview revealed Dragon Dogma 2 would have just one save file, some players began to worry how that might affect their playthrough. After playing the game myself, I was able to talk to director Hideki Itsunu about this, and I learned it was intentional to encourage exploration. It is indeed one save file, Itsunu tells us through a translator. However, the game gives you more options. It gives you the option to load from the last inn you rested at. In that regard, it's not a game where you won't have any possibility to get back. Okay, that's good. Regarding what the thinking was behind that, it's really simple. We want to encourage exploration, and this is quite the opposite of what you get when you allow too much freedom in this regard. Itsunu gave me an example involving a cliff. If you are at a cliff of a discernible height with multiple save options, like the ability to save right there and quickly revert back to it, you might just jump to see if you can make it. This is quite the opposite effect of encouraging the exploration field. What do you mean? I'm jumping off the cliff. I'm exploring.
Yeah, that is exploring, but continue. Yeah.
However, with just one save file, your thinking should shift. Jumping might result in death or unwanted damage, and that could be a setback. Of course, you can reload at the last end you saved, but given how big Dragon Dogma 2 world is and how hard it can be to fast travel times, you might not want to retrace your steps. So instead of jumping without thought, you might analyze the cliff's height more closely or even decide to find a safer way down. So that is the main reason I really wanted to encourage the thrill of exploration, and that was the thinking behind the limit.
Now, maybe the exploration word is only there because of translation reasons.
Translation. I was going to say,
maybe he understands. Maybe he's not meaning technically exploration in the way we think of it. Maybe he's genuinely like as the rest of it explains. I get the thought process of like,
you
want players to commit to a decision.
Right. That's what I figured when I read it. I know these translations get a little lost sometimes. All right. I'll keep going here. Dragon's Dogma 2 has an uncapped frame rate, no visual presets or modes on consoles. The game has an uncapped frame rate. We're aiming to go at around or higher than 30 FPS. That is for consoles as well. There are some functions that you can turn on and off, but there aren't multiple sets of options you can change at once. But yeah, the frame rate will come uncapped for all consoles. Okay, well, to me, that sounds like it's probably going to be around 30 FPS.
Not buying on console, so we'll just scratch that.
No, yeah, I'm not buying on console. By the way, in case you or anyone else doesn't know, you can download the character creator for Dragon's Dogma 2 right now.
Good to mention.
I did it, messed around with it, made my two characters, my main character and then my little sidekick. So I thought that was a cool way to pull you in. I feel like that's smart, People create their character, they're like, oh man, I really want to follow this up,
Yeah, I think we'll get a lot more sales when they do something like that.
Yeah, never seen anything like this, by the way. Never seen just the character creator release.
I have. It has happened more than once, even in the past. I just wish I could remember. I know one of them was like an MMORPG. I know that for sure. I don't remember what it was, but I've seen it even outside of the MMO. So let me see, character creator before. Okay. Starfield had it. Okay. Ashes of Creation, whatever that is. Tales of Lumen. I don't know what that is. Anyway, I've seen it, and there's some random titles there. But regardless, I'm more interested in this game than whatever games I was saying prior there. I don't know. I'm still not like super sold on it because again, I don't really know I don't know what I'm really getting into here. I mean, I did play the first a few times at this and I can't seem to get into it, but everyone seems to say the beginning's really rough. Try to work through it. You end up really liking it. It just has like a steep, like, beginning learning curve of just like, apparently the beginning area kind of drags, almost like if you think Witcher 3, how's that like beginning section that's a bit long and before you even get into understanding how the flow of the game even works. The same kind of thing happens there with the original Dragon's Dogma. But the problem is because of that, I just am like, I'm not really feeling it. But
sure. Yeah, I'm gonna see what I think. I'm not gonna pre-order or anything. I'm gonna wait for reviews. I'm gonna see what they say. kind of give it some thought and go from there. But I am definitely interested at least. So
yeah, I'm gonna be watching reviews on this one. So,
mm-hmm.
I mean, of everything I've seen, it looks cool. So, but I just want to, I want to see when people actually get their hands on it for a while and how this turns into. Okay. Next here, Akira Toriyama, creator of Dragon Ball, has passed away. Here's a message that was left on their Twitter. Dear friends and partners, we're deeply saddened to inform you that manga creator Akira Toriyama passed away on March 1st due to acute submural hematoma. Curious what that is now.
Isn't that is that a cancer thing? Hematoma, hold on. Hematoma, a pool of mostly clotted blood that forms in an organ, tissue, or body space. Caused by, never mind, I was off.
He was 68, which isn't like super old. He was definitely still working. I mean, not as much as you would be in your 20s or 30s or even 40s, but he was still like working on a lot of projects and stuff, which the Sandland is coming out here actually quite soon. I want to say next month or two. And that's his work on all the art there. I mean, he does all the Dragon Quest art, so I'm very curious on Dragon Quest 12, because that's in development right now. I wonder if he got all his art out in time. Either way, those two things are going to be like quite interesting to see his final works there when those come out. Anyway, it's our deep regret that he still had several works, speaking of which, in the middle of creation with great enthusiasm. Also, he had many more things to achieve. However, he has left many manga titles and works of art to this world. Thanks to the support of so many people around the world, he has been able to continue his creative activities for over 45 years. We hope that Akira Toriyama's unique world of creation continues to be loved by everyone for a long time to come. We inform you this sad news with gratefulness for your kindness during his lifetime. Funeral service was held with his family and very few relatives. Following his wishes for tranquility, we respectfully inform you that we would not accept flowers, condolences gifts, visitings, offerings, and others. Also, we ask you refrain from conducting interviews with his family. Future plan for commemorating gatherings is not decided. We will let you know when it's confirmed. We deeply thank you for your understanding and support as always. And this was posted on March 8th by Byte Studio, the Capsule Corporation, Tokyo.
Sad. Rip to the GOAT, the man. I'm sure that was so many people's first anime as well, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, even in the video game space, I mean, his first work, I would assume, is the original Dragon Quest on NES and back in the 80s.
Which is huge.
And that is still ongoing. And it's just one of those things to where when people see his art, they know it's him. And that's always super cool. And he has so much work. I mean, he made such a gigantic splash. I really think I could say, even if 100 or 200 years pass, I mean, do you think Dragon Ball is just going to be completely forgotten about? I'm trying to think of like a really old piece of media that we had, but the problem is media didn't even start till
it hasn't been long
like early 1900s, so it's like, but even that we're still aware of to this day, so it's hard to like truly know what, in 100 years, is all this stuff still going to? I would say, yeah, right?
I think so, because you have stuff like, Cinderella and Peter Pan and stuff that came out in like 1930 or something.
Yeah,
we still, we still talk about, and people love Dragon Ball and everything it's accomplished and all that. So yeah, I mean, totally see it still.
You're not even talking millions, you're talking hundreds of millions, if not probably over a billion aware of Dragon Ball, as weird as that is. I think that's probably true.
I agree.
So, yeah, I mean, he definitely left his mark on the world, so super cool. And, sad to see you go. Sandland's about to come out, like I said, but most of his work be done there, so that's good to know. And then Dragon Quest 12, I mean, has been in development for years. I would assume art would be one of the first things done on that front.
First. Yeah.
So I think that's already going to have anything that he would be doing with that. So I think we're good on that front. So. Also, yes, it's not like it's just him working on his stuff. He has peers that also help him in the art. He's not the physical, solely only person doing it frame by frame. You know what I mean? He's just overseeing it all and playing the biggest part in it all. So
I totally agree.
So, I mean... Yeah. I wouldn't be upset if, like, okay, they work on new Dragon Ball content and he's gone. Like, I'm not gonna be like, don't do that. I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't be that type of person. I think they should. Either that, or we leave it behind. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I'm sure we'll see more stuff in the future. They're not just gonna let it go, you know. So.
Yep. Okay.
All right. Next up, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut coming to PC. So now we add another game that's coming to PC, and we're still missing Bloodborne for some strange reason that I can't pinpoint. But okay, this is a great game. I really like Ghost of Tsushima. So the game's Director's Cut is making its way to Steam and the Epic Game Store on May 16th, which is not that far from now, and includes PC-specific enhancements. In terms of content, the Director's Cut includes the full game, the Iki Island story expansion, and the co-op multiplayer Legends mode. Pre-ordering the PC version also earns the following unlocks: New Game Plus, Horse Traveler's Attire, and Broken Armor Dies from Baku's shop. Developer Sucker Punch has partnered with Nix's software on the PC port. The game has been optimized for PC with unlocked frame rates, custom mouse keyboard controls, and various graphical settings. Per the PlayStation blog post, NVIDIA DLSS 3 and AMD FSR 3 are available with both upscaling and frame generation options. Intel XeSS upscaling is also supported, and if your hardware has headroom to spare, you can use NVIDIA DLAA or FSR3 native AA to further boost image quality. Well, it sounds like they're giving it the full treatment, you know, a lot of cool PC-specific stuff, so that's great.
Yeah, they also went into other things of like supporting up to like 3 monitors and ultra-wide support and all of that. So,
very cool.
Now, any work that this company has done, not all PlayStation ports have been great, but the ones that this company has done have been great. So they didn't do the Last of Us port, for example.
Which was terrible at first.
They didn't do the Horizon one, but when it did the like Spider-Man, the Miles Morales, the what was another?
Horizon, Death Stranding was 505 games. Never mind.
Yeah, but there was one other.
Returnal? Who did Returnal?
Returnal. I think that actually was them. I think that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. Anyway, there was one other one they did. It's probably Returnal. But, yeah, this is cool to see. I really like this game. A big question I have is its cross-play, because I actually really like the multiplayer. But, you know, I own it on PS5. I wouldn't want to, like, buy it again just to play with PC people. But I would like to hop back in. And like, if this does like get an uptick and people start playing on PC and start playing the whole Legends mode, especially because Helldivers is taking such a big like presence in online gaming right now, and it's purely co-op. I could see people being like, well, let's co-op on Ghost of Tsushima. And I think Legends is really awesome, really fun. And I'd be totally down to getting a player bump in this multiplayer mode.
I played it for a bit. I didn't get too into it, but when I did play, I was like, wow, this is impressive that this is free. Yeah.
I got really far. If I didn't complete it, I got pretty close to doing all the missions, I want to say. But there's things far outside of just doing the mission structure. There's a lot more reasons to play within the space as well, because you can play this mode of basically just like a raid mode of just like waves of enemies coming in. And I could play that. I love any game that has like a horde mode. So I think that's the most fun I had with Legends. And hopefully it's cross-play. And even if it's not, I still hope that this catches on and a lot of people play the Legends and it becomes a thing. Because also, 120 frames with this game would be so cool. Like, high action, like, I got converted real hard of wanting 120 when it comes to like an action game. You would assume, you would want that anyway. But whenever I played Neo at 120, that was so butterly smooth and so super cool. And it makes me like really itch of like, man, I would love to play this at 120.
Yep. No, I think that would be fantastic, man. The game, I remember when we played the game, I remember we talked about how beautiful it was, how expansive the world was, the combat felt great.
Yeah.
You just improve these little things here, bring it to a new platform. You can have a whole new audience, you know? So
yeah, I mean, they should definitely not stop on this, you know, wait a few years, release to PC. Now, I would like it if they shorten the time, but I mean, it makes business sense not to, but I think you need to find that perfect fine line. This is a little long. This is what, 3, if not 4 years later, right? They've been hitting this. I wish they would bring it back to maybe like 2 years. I mean,
I think it came out in 2020, I believe, right? Am I wrong about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't know, like they're coming out a little too late. It's after about a year. I would say most people, if they were going to buy it, would have bought it by then. 2 years, I think you're really solid on making sure you're not hurting the sales of the console, right? I mean, I don't think you need to wait a whole 4 years. So
yeah, I think that's too much.
Yeah. At that point, a game is just kind of sitting dormant and not really doing much. So
agreed.
Yep. Okay.
All right. Next up, original S.T.A.L.K.E.R. Legends of the Zone trilogy is available on Xbox today.
Oh, it's also out on PlayStation. I saw this story and it said Xbox, and I was thinking it was just Xbox, but it is PlayStation as well. So just
so coming to, let's say, PlayStation and Xbox.
Yeah.
The game's official title is S.T.A.L.K.E.R. Legends of the Zone trilogy and includes the base game Shadow of Chernobyl, Clear Skies, and Call of Pripyat. For those who've never played the original game, this is a great way to prepare before the launch of S.T.A.L.K.E.R. 2, Heart of Chernobyl, which will be on Game Pass on September 5th, 2024. Okay, awesome. Can't wait for that game.
Yeah, S.T.A.L.K.E.R. 2 is going to be Xbox exclusive, so I was thinking this was, but this trilogy is going to be all platforms, and then it's timed exclusive on Xbox with S.T.A.L.K.E.R. 2. I don't know how long the time. I guess I would assume a year, but who knows?
Gotcha.
Either way, I've never played these. I've always wondered about them, but for some reason, I've always thought these games were, even though I've never even played it a single second of these games, they seem very like hardcore and different and weird, and maybe I feel hesitant on playing these games. Do you get the same vibe from this?
Yes, actually I do, because I've had the same thought.
Like, but have you ever actually played them? Because I haven't, but I wonder why I even think this.
Yeah, I have not played them. I've heard so many things about them. I have easy access to them. I just never happened. You know?
I want to say I own them in my Steam library.
I think one of us might own them, because I was looking through my whole library and I thought I saw one of them. But I'm 100% in on a new one, man. It looks awesome.
Yeah, it looks way too good to ignore.
Yep.
Okay. Final Fantasy XIV launches onto Xbox Series X and S later this month. After a quick but seemingly successful open beta period on the platform, the company has revealed Final Fantasy XIV will fully launch on the Xbox Series X and S on March 21st. This news was revealed during the Xbox Partner Preview, with a reminder that players can partake in the open beta right now. Square Enix also revealed that the starter edition of the game, which includes the base campaign, A Realm Reborn, and the Heavensward and Stormblade expansions, will be available through Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. However, you must claim it as a perk between March 21st and April 19th. So definitely do that, because these expansions are like $30-$40 a piece. Now, now that it's been out for a while, you can buy like the Ultimate Collection with all the expansions for like $60, or you can buy like the base game for like $20 kind of deal. But this will definitely save you some money, and so you might as well claim them. And that's really cool that they actually offer that. that's pretty neat.
No, that is awesome. By the way, just to be clear, the original Final Fantasy 14, like the really bad one, it says it was launched in September 30th, 2010. It says. Then what was the name of like the
Realm Reborn
version? Realm Reborn. Okay, that was 2013, I think it said.
Okay.
Interesting, because I remember thinking like, holy crap, this game sounds terrible. And then August 27th, 2013, they started the whole thing. That's so, I gotta play this game eventually, man. Every time I think of playing it though, I'm like, God, this is so much.
I mean, first of all, you can just download it and start playing it, and I want to say it's not till like level 35 or 40 to where they stop you with just playing it for free right out of the gate. But especially to people that have Game Pass, you can go far beyond that because you could just claim all these other expansions and go all the way to about, I want to say 70, if not 80 by the time Stormblood ends. A Realm Reborn, I mean, at the time of release, I really liked it. Looking back, I mean, yes, that is the weakest one. And they also did the most reworking with that original just because it dragged for a while. And they definitely shortened it a lot and made it a lot better experience. So you could probably get through that within like 20 hours. And it actually is pretty good at this point. But I remember originally you're talking more like 60, 70 hours. And it was like, go talk to this person, go talk to this person, go talk to this person. And it's just getting really tedious and dumb. But the point at that time, it's not like I was sitting there talking. I was sitting there just doing fetch quest all day. I was doing all these other things. But if for a person who is just trying to mainline the campaign and catch up, it's very easy to do so now. So anyway, I obviously really like this game. Been playing it since it came out. It would have to be over 1,000 hours at this point, over like 10 years. I would assume so. I've never actually checked my hour count, but yeah. Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's neat. I just wasn't expecting them to include the expansions through Game Pass. That's neat.
No, that is actually really great. So. All right. You want to talk about this since you love it so much?
Persona 3 Reload Expansion Pass adds episode Aegis, the Answer FES content. So, FES was the version on PS2 that released after the fact, just like they did with Persona 4, with Persona 4 Golden, just like they did with Persona 5, or Persona 5, not Reload, because that's this one. What do they call it? Royal, sorry. Anyway, so I was hoping this entire time, since this game was announced, like, oh, they're not releasing the Answer FES content. Well, that really sucks because if that was the case, this would be the ultimate version of the game. But since we're technically missing content from a game back on PS2, it's like, hey, it's better in every other way, but it's missing this piece of content. So it's kind of hard to say if it's just a flat out ultimate version. Well, now we can confidently say that once this releases. And thankfully, they did it the correct way, because I remember multiple times in the past on this podcast, I've said, please just don't make me buy the game again. And they're not. They're actually doing a DLC this time. Thank God. So Atlas had confirmed that an epilogue to the Japanese version of the original Persona 3 that first appeared in the West in Persona 3 FES will come to Persona 3 Reload later this year. More specifically, episode Aegis, the Answer, will hit the recently released Persona 3 remake as part of its expansion pass this September. This news was revealed during today's Xbox Partners preview alongside the contents of Wave 1 and 2 of Persona 3 Reload's expansion pass. Here's what to expect. So Wave 1 is hitting March 12th, which will be after this episode releases here. Will be what releases Thursday the 14th. Okay. You will have access to Persona 5 Royal background music set and Persona 4 Gold and background music set, which that's super cool. Wave 2 hits in May with a Velvet costume and background music set, and then Wave 3 in September is the Answer. The expansion pass will be available for free to all Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscribers through January 31st, 2025. You can also purchase the expansion pass on digital storefronts on platforms where the game is playable for $34.99. Now, I also wasn't expecting that they're actually going to drop the DLC on Game Pass. They usually will give you the game with Game Pass, and if you want DLC, you purchase it after the fact, so they could try to get some money there. But the fact that it's just straight up also dropping the DLC on Game Pass, great. Because I'm currently playing it, and I had to deviate because I had to play Final Fantasy, of course. But once I beat it, I'm immediately jumping back to this. And so I will definitely have this game done well before this DLC drops. And the fact that I also don't need to drop another $35 because of my Game Pass, that's awesome. So
yeah, no, it's great.
Okay,
it's awesome. Yep. Very cool. All right. Next up, Princess Peach Showtime demo now available on Switch. I did not know that.
I need to play
I'm going to go download that right after this. I really don't know for sure where I'm going to land with this game. As of right now,
Me either. I'm sure it's super baby mode. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what to think because, you had games like Yoshi's Crafted World. Was that the last one I played?
Those are super baby mode, but they're still great games.
They're fun. They're very fun. So I'm gonna try this. I'm actually really happy they put a demo. I'm gonna try this demo out, see what I think, and go from there. I almost feel like I have to play this. It's like the first Peach game we've had in so freaking long.
Yeah,
but
I never played that DS game,
the Super Princess. It was okay. It was a decent game. Nothing amazing. But yeah, I'm interested. I'm definitely gonna download that tonight. So
March 22nd is whenever the game comes out.
It's the same name as Dragon's Dogma.
What's funny is I play this demo and I choose to buy this over Dragon's Dogma.
That's funny.
No. I don't know. Apparently in this demo you'll get to play as the two of Peach's transformations. One is a sword fighter Peach and the other is a Patacera? I don't know what that is.
Let me take a look. What is that? A Patacera?
Never heard of that.
I don't know what that is.
I'm sure I'm saying it way wrong. It sounds like I'm saying it wrong.
It's a French word meaning a pastry chef. Okay.
I don't get. I mean, I saw multiple trailers of this. It looks like you're not really doing much of anything.
When I read this description, it made me if I read the description and it was a Kirby game, I'd be all for it, right?
Yeah.
But then when I read this and it says transformation, what? What is this game? So we'll see.
I'm gonna play it though. I'm gonna play this demo, see what I think. I'm glad they released a demo. This is perfect for a game like this because I really don't know what to expect, and I need a demo to really understand this. So cool. Okay, get a new look at Amazon's Fallout TV series in the first official trailer, which I did watch. I was reluctant. I'm like, whatever on it. But after actually watching it in full, dude, that trailer looks sick. Especially, I was just let down because I do not I know there's a lot of Defenders, but I think it's really bad that Rings of Power show. Really bad. But I will say I didn't finish. I did watch 3, if not 4 episodes. I gave it a fair shot. I really tried. And I was just man, they had all the money in the world and they still just made a piece of crap, I feel. And so I'm just I don't know. I guess I'm not big into Fallout really that much anyway, but now I really don't care. But I watched this trailer, dude. It looks super impressive. I'm really blown away by it, and now I actually want to watch this. So I'm at least gonna watch the first episode. Why not? But
it
looks great, dude, for real. So it features power armor, a post-apocalyptic Los Angeles, vault dwellers, and plenty more. And it looks great. Hey, Today's trailer is just a 3-minute tease of what awaits in the full series, which premieres next month on April 11th, exclusively on Amazon Prime Video. The trailer begins with the character explaining the importance of vaults before the world falls to nuclear destruction. Fast forward 200 years, and the vault dwellers emerge, ready to discover what awaits in the vast Californian wasteland. We got new looks at Ella Parnell's Jean, the primary vault dweller protagonist Walton Goggins' Goal, Kyle MacLachlan's mysterious character Aaron Clifton, Moten's Magnus, who is a member of the Brotherhood of Steel, and more.
All right. Listen, I have not really played Fallout, but I'll probably check this show out because it sounds like people who have played it say it looked great. And just as a show on its own, I kind of want to check it out and watch it anyway. So.
Yep.
Okay.
You can take
Helldivers 2 Season 2 launches next week with Cutting Edge Warbound. I bought this game. I meant to play it so much more. Then Final Fantasy came out. Then I've just been so busy, so I've barely played this game. But what I did play, I found to be really fun.
Same thing. I mean, I played it really. We can always come back to it. But again, I'm just Final Fantasy, dude. Listen, everything's gonna have to be ignored until I finish this. Sorry.
We'll still have it. We can always come back to it.
Yeah, no, I will.
Arrowhead Game Studios has revealed in a PlayStation blog post that Season 2 of Helldivers 2 launches next week with a new cutting-edge warbond. This new warbond is packed with high-voltage vibes, giving players access to the new loadout potential with ultra-futuristic armor, guns that spit lightning, stylish capes, emotes, and more. Warbond Cutting Edge goes live next week on March 14th and brings with it a new acquisitions battle pass of things to unlock. However, don't fret if you're still working through the first free and premium warbonds in Helldivers 2. Warbonds don't expire. Within this new warbond, players will find multiple EX series armored prototypes. The EX03 prototype 3 includes a rubber underlayer for insulation with wires that operate at a shocking 400,000 volts. The EX16 prototype 16 has an electric arc that generates a strong magnetic field. The EX00 prototype X is the end result of several billion super credits and 12 years of research into creating the Soldier of Tomorrow. I love all the silly lore that they make for this game. In terms of new weapons, expect electricity. The LAS-16 is a laser rifle that fires in short bursts, and it doesn't need reloading either. Just watch for overheating. The SG-8P Punisher Plasma is a modified Punisher shotgun that uses plasma rounds, and the ARC-12 Blitzer projects an arc of close-range lightning. Or you can charge it up to fire powerful bolts, good for taking out multiple targets. You can also unlock the new G23 stun grenade and the LAS-7 dagger pistol too. Elsewhere in this warbond, Helldivers will find matching player cards for each cape and 3 new emotes. Cutting Edge rolls out to Destroyer acquisition panels on March 14th. Cool. I mean, that's great that they're supporting the game so well already. I mean, it's not even that old. It's very, very recent, actually. So, yeah, that's good news. More stuff for us to play when we get there, you know?
Yep. All right. So, getting to what we're watching, what we're playing.
Yeah, so I'm still playing Octopath. I'll just jump in here and there. Very fun to play, and just like we're watching a show, I'm trying to make sure every time I get to a new character, I grind them up a little bit. You know, I have no idea what to expect, but I get them up to like at least level 10 or something on the first chapter. And I did also, I went kind of crazy. I got the OLED Steam Deck, right? Then I got from D-Brand, because I really like that company. They make some good products. I got the anti-glare screen protector, right? Like I always do. But then I saw from D-Brand, you could get this. It's called a kill switch. It's like this case that they make. It's really nice. It's like a rubber / plastic casing around it. It feels very comfortable and it protects it really well. And it came with like a skin to put on, but this time I'm like, I'm not even gonna put any skins on. I just got the case. I left the skins aside, whatever. Then after that, I was thinking, well, I have my computer here in my bedroom. Out in the living room is where I play like Final Fantasy and anything PS5, right? I was like, I would like to be able to play my Steam Deck out on the TV. And in the past, I had to like hook up a little hub to my Steam Deck and then in there plug an HDMI, and it's like, it's not great. It's clearly not meant for that, right? It doesn't work the best. So I was like, you know what? Let me try out the official Steam Deck one, right? So got the official Steam Deck dock.
Oh, cool.
Then to be able to connect the kill switch case, if you want to have it on and put it in the Steam Deck, you need like a little extra it's like a little extra thing that fits perfectly in there. So I bought that too.
At least you don't have to like take off the case, because I was expecting you to have to do that. So
because that was going to be a pain, and I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
And lastly, it came with these really nice stick grips on top of the normal Steam Deck grips. So all that stuff together, and it's amazing. Like this thing feels so nice. It feels such a nice premium product. I put it in the dock. I had to mess with the settings a little bit. Like it automatically tried to go 4K. And when it did that, I heard like a crackling sound. And I looked up online and people were like, oh yeah, that's the CPU trying to catch up. The resolution's too high. So I bumped it down to 1440 and no problem. It looks amazing. I control it with an Xbox controller. Perfect. It's almost as good as like how the Switch docks, you know? The
yeah,
Switch
and
dock
once
is
you
immense.
sync a controller, it will stay synced, and you can just turn on the controller, and it will just start working with it. So
it's so nice too, because I could even, if I'm playing at night and I want to lay on the couch with my Xbox controller, play Octopath Traveler on my Steam Deck in the living room, and put on some earbuds. Perfect, everything works.
Cool.
It's fantastic, man. I'm really impressed by it. It's a great system.
Now, what you need to do is set up the PlayStation stream into the Steam Deck, because
I need to do
put
that.
in many hours into Final Fantasy because of that reason.
Oh my god, I need to sit down and do that, because man, that would be so much better if I could do that.
It's not hard. Just switch to desktop mode, and it's literally called Akira or something like that. I'll send it to you. Just download it and sign into your PlayStation Network, and it'll pretty much like set it up.
Okay.
It's not too hard.
Yeah, if you can help me out with that, that'd be great. So yeah, I play Octopath here and there. I think it's a great game so far. I haven't gotten to like some crazy part yet, but I'm on the third story of the characters, and so far I'm very interested. I think it's great. And it's beautiful, especially on that OLED screen. My God, it looks so good. It's really impressive. I finally started the show Chernobyl. I heard so much about it, never watched it. It's only 5 episodes. So I watched episode 1 last night, and I really was very into it. I was like, wow, this is pretty good. So yeah, I'm going to keep watching. I don't know. They say a lot of things that just don't make sense to me. I'm not well versed when it comes to nuclear reactors and power plants and explosions and meltdowns.
I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that stuff, but what I've seen so far is very interesting. I find myself looking things up occasionally. So yeah, I've been watching that. But yes, of course, the main thing I've been playing is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I'm about 8 hours in now. Still not as far as I'd like to be, obviously, but trying to put in the time where I can. And yeah, like I was saying before, I'm so into... It's funny because I played Final Fantasy 16. I loved it, right? But what I liked about that game is very different than what I like about this game. They're so different, you know? And I'm glad I have 2 completely different experiences. I think, honestly, when I said the controls were bugging me in 7, I think it honestly was just because I was coming off 16, and it's so different, you know? I think that's what was messing with me. But yeah, that being said, I'm in the grasslands now, and I'm having such a fun time. It doesn't feel, even though I am kind of doing a checklist, like do this, do that, it doesn't feel that way. It doesn't feel like I'm annoyed, because everything is so different, whether it be the battles with the animals or the towers or the chocobo spots. It's like everything's so different. And the card game, I won't sit here and say that I'm a pro at this game yet, but I've gotten better. I understand it a little better. I still am confused a little bit at times, but I've definitely gotten better at it, and I really enjoy it. I've been fighting everyone I can with the card game, so I know I'm going to get into that. I just feel like there's so many little things to do in this game. It's like sometimes people can't be satisfied, right? In 16, people say, there's not enough to do. I want more exploration. I want more random stuff. Okay, this game, there's way too much random stuff to do. It's like people sometimes will just never be happy. But man, for me personally, I see myself doing all this stuff. Like, I think it's so fun to just kind of go explore, run on your chocobo, do everything. And I haven't even touched the story barely at all, which I know is going to be amazing as well. So, man, the game is just the full package, you know? I'm really, really happy with it. Yeah.
What do you think about the biggest, I would say, controversy, even though I'm not on board with this, is the whole graphics performance mode thing.
Yeah.
So you switch it to performance, it's 60. First of all, it's actually 60, unlike trying to hit 60 and dropping a ton. No, it's 60, super smooth. But it drops much better. A bit in resolution, and people, I don't know. I'm not seeing what people are saying. Like, yeah, I noticed the difference. Sure, if I switch between the two, but I don't think it's that drastic. It's pretty minor. I don't know.
I totally agree with you. I don't think it's a huge thing. I do notice the difference because I tried resolution out.
Yeah,
but I would trade that every day of the week for the performance. The running around and fighting feels so much better than it did when I played the demo. It feels, I don't know, it just feels much better, and I have zero complaints there. I don't really have any issues there, you know? So for me personally, it doesn't bug me. And Final Fantasy VII Remake had more issues with the, with the some of the visuals kind of popping in, popping out, and the door. So I think they've improved it, you know? And I don't really have complaints. I think the game is so much fun so far. It's kind of I've gotten to the point where it's really grabbing me now, you know? And I'm learning something. I'm learning new things every day. I still sit in the menu sometimes and like, hold on, it's like, how do I change my party member out? I forgot. Or
so I just learned this recently. I thought I was locked to pre-configurations when it comes to the party. So whenever you go to like the party setup, if you hit R, it says to hit R1 and you can shuffle different party members. That's not your only option. You can actually edit it and literally put in whoever you want. And I didn't realize this.
Like a loadout kind of thing. Okay.
Till about, I'm 46 hours into the game.
Okay.
And I realized at about hour 35 that I could be like, oh my God, I can actually edit this. I don't have to just do the pre-configurations. There's just like a quick button, or there's a way to fully do it.
Well, now you have hour 46 and you know about the assess thing now too. So there you go. No, I feel like the game, like I was getting my party level up, and I'm like, what the heck can I do with this? I forgot. And then I ran into like that folio machine thing. I'm like, oh, here we go. I can do it here.
It's like a sphere grid from like Final Fantasy X. That's what it looks like.
Mm-hmm. Or even doing like the press L1 and then you can do shortcuts to certain abilities. You know, one thing that this game has that I was really missing in Final Fantasy 16 that I was so happy to get back is I'm obsessed with learning the abilities from the weapons permanently. I love doing that. I love getting the ability and then switching over to another sword or weapon or whatever. Yeah. I think that's great. Yeah, man, I think it's really good so far. I think it's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. I think, honestly, unless I guess you say not to do this for some reason, I think I'm just going to go, and every time I do something in the grasslands, it almost unlocks 2 more points of interest. So I think I'm just going to keep going and going and going until I do all the ones I can do, and then I'll continue the story. I mean, I'm not bored from it at all.
That's what I did that in the first area, and I'm like, dude, this is amazing. I could do this all day.
It's so much fun.
And then so I got to the second area, and I was like, well, the problem is I got real hooked by the story. Once the story ramped, and I was like, man, it's going to be hard to deviate. But I did it anyway, just because I so badly wanted. I was literally battling the entire time. I'm like, man, I don't know what to do. And I'm just like, well, there's a point real close to me. Maybe I'll just do like 1 or 2 more, and then I'll jump back to the story. And I'm still thinking this way. And I'm in like the 4th area, and I'm still like, man, I'm really enjoying getting all these points on the map and filling it all out, just because they're so varied and so fun and finding new things. Yeah. And it even just like the people you meet and stuff like that. It's good across the board. So I'm like, okay, I want to keep doing this because I really enjoy all this content. But on the flip side of the coin, holy hell, is the story getting so incredibly interesting. And I also really badly want to know what happens next. But I'm weirdly still in this exact same boat where I can't decide, and I'm just kind of rolling with it. And somehow me rolling with it is still me doing everything. So,
and let's not ignore the fact that the same thing happened to me in Final Fantasy 16. Although this game, I think, will do it even better. All these things you're doing, which we're having fun doing anyway, we're exploring, we're, new dialogue, new unlocks, new material, new items, but you're also preparing yourself even better. You're leveling up. You're getting new abilities. You're gaining new weapons so that when you go do those Chadley freaking crazy summons later on, you'll be able to beat them.
Now, with the summon thing, do you get how, like, you can battle them straight out of the gate and it's full power? Yeah. Well, if you find their shrines, you could battle them at like lower a lower power, right? Yes.
So it's kind of like the Zelda thing, right? With like Ganondorf and Breath of the Wild. Exactly. I did see that. I have not found them yet.
Just that. It actually has an extra layer to that. So I didn't realize this, but even if you battle them and complete it, you still want to find those other points because it levels up the materia. So each time you find one of those points, you go into a little cave and you do a little pattern. Well, it raises that material 1 more level up to level 3 if you find 3 of them or whatever, or 4, whatever it is. So you still want to find them to level the material to summon, but you can summon them early if you can beat them straight from the jump. So
yeah, I tried them once. I was like, I got whooped. I'm like, okay, I can't do this right now.
So did I.
But so is it by location? Like, is Titan in Grasslands? Can I find all the shrines for him in Grasslands?
Yeah. Each there's a new summon in each location. You can do them, you can battle them straight from the start, like I said, or you can lower a thing. But yes, each one has its own thing. Now, here's the thing too, is what I was a little worried about. I was like, Diablo 4, my biggest gripe with that game, I think it's fun and everything, is super formulaic, and all the like, maybe it's just because there's only like 2 or 3 different things that you're switching between and you're just repeating for countless hours. Sure. Maybe this isn't feeling like a similar grind, because I'm wondering, like, is my Final Fantasy bias showing off here? But I'm starting to wonder, because I was like, man, well, each area still has a formula to it. The problem, or not the problem, the good thing about this is, well, there's 15 different parts to this formula. And so that's what's making this fun, is like, I don't feel like I'm doing the same thing again over and over, because I'm not. There's so much variety to each area, even if they still technically have the same beats, which they don't, by the way, but there are still plenty of differences. But you know what I mean? Like the
I know what you mean.
They'll have those like combat zones of like a specific monster, like we were talking earlier with like the 3 tiers. If you can beat all 3 or whatever like that, you complete it fully. So they'll have like 3 or 4 of those on each map, right? They'll have 3 or 4 of those, like the summon things that we were talking about. They'll have 3 or 4 of this, 3 or 4 of that, right? But because they do so many different things, right, it doesn't feel like you're repeating it, even though technically, I don't know how many regions there are, but let's say there's, I don't know, 8 regions or something. I think they said in that Play to Stay, I just don't remember. But I don't know, there's still plenty of differences in just the activities that you can do, much less Queen's Blood, much less all the different mini games that you're going to come across over the main game as a whole, right? New like spots, you're going to find like a new mini game to play that isn't following any formula. Like those Mog houses. I don't know if you came across the first one yet.
I did. Okay. Yep.
There's going to be one in each area, right? So like that is another formula there. And then so I was a little bummed when I discovered that there was a formula, right? But the very moment I still kept playing it, now that I'm like in the 4th area, I'm like, okay, well, it's not as bad as I thought. And I guess it's just because there's so many of them.
There's so many. And what you said before about, you said you weren't sure if it's your Final Fantasy bias coming through. Well, look what happened with 16. You tried it, you weren't really feeling it. So there you go. That answers that. Yeah. I wanted to ask you one other thing before we wrap this up. When it comes to like wrangling a new chocobo, I know they had mentioned like,
now there's not a new one in each region, so know that. I was thinking maybe that was going to be the case. It's not. Anyway,
so there's not enough more than just one.
There could be, but I have 2.
It's not like set. Gotcha.
So you, in the next area, you'll get a mountain chocobo, but it's not like a set thing for each area. You're gonna get some new chocobo or something. That isn't a formula. That just happens to be more. I don't know like how it's gonna. I guess it's gonna work more like the original game, to where you have the original, you have the mountain one, and then I think there's one that could just kind of go anywhere and everywhere towards the very end of the original game, that you get like a golden chocobo, I want to say, and it just kind of could run around anything. So maybe that will be the case here.
Oh man, I wonder if they're gonna do that quest, because that was so fun in the original to get Knights of the Round Table to do the whole thing.
Which you have to have that golden chocobo to even get to that area, because
God, there was so much breeding, so much racing. I have to race him, get him up to A rank.
I am doing racing chocobo right now.
Oh man,
so
I hope they do that.
It's really fun, because I'm doing the whole bit to where, okay, I got to Golden Saucer, and I'm doing all the Golden Saucer stuff, which, oh my God, it's like dream come true. It's so incredible. That's the problem, is like I can sit here and gush for hours.
I can hear the music in my head right now.
Yes.
Oh man, I can't wait.
And it's so much better than the original game's Golden Saucer.
I'm sure.
It's so good. Anyway,
I'm excited, man.
that little, so in the original game, like the first little area you go into, it's almost like you're just trying to get a room, and it's like a haunted mansion kind of area. Well, in this game, it looks like straight up like you're playing the latest Luigi's Mansion, of just how awesome the theme is with it, and it's so good. Even just different characters in the hotel and stuff like that. It's so much more fleshed out and so awesome. And I was saying, yeah, I'm doing all that. I did. I got thrown to the bottom in the prison like it happens in the original game, and then you have to build your way back up. You have to do chocobo races so somebody ends up liking you, so that you can get like a certain thing accomplished, so you can get out of prison kind of thing. So same thing happens in this game, and so I had to do the chocobo racing, and it's just like, it's like the beats are there from the original, but they're so much better. But at the same time, they'll still throw like weird twist your way of like things you weren't expecting to play with your expectations and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I'm still wondering about the whole, hey, if somebody just played Remake and then just played Rebirth, do they need to play the original? I'm still strongly in the camp of you really should play the original. I know it sucks. 40, 50 hours is the last thing you want to do. But man, the reward is so incredibly high if you like know the source material compared to not. I don't know, the amount of references and
there's
like,
a lot. I would say at least watch a recap, a good recap, if you're not going to play it, you know?
Yeah.
Because I played it, but I've forgotten so much. So I watched the recap again, and it all came back to me.
Yeah, but I feel I can, if I watch a recap of something that I played whenever I was a kid, it could. I still feel it counts, and I played it. I can still remember a lot.
You played it,
yeah. Just straight up not playing it and playing this Rebirth. Just, I don't know, man. I've experienced so much of the story, and it's really like, man, there's so many nods of like, huh, you thought this was gonna happen, but this happens, and they're like playing with you on purpose. Now, I guess you could just not know, and then just this is just how it went. But it's not just that. Like the characters are literally practically winking in the camera at you. I don't know. It's more than just the fact that something different happened. They're playing with you on purpose of not knowing if you're going to get the original or get something new, and they do it at every turn. And they're expecting the player to have the previous knowledge for any of this to work. No, it's different.
I gotta say, man, I think this is awesome. That I just can't believe this is a real thing. We're literally playing this game, and we're playing this right now. We play it. I tried to explain to my daughter. She's like, "Wait, I don't understand. You just played Final Fantasy 16. Why are you playing Final Fantasy 7?" I'm like, "Hold on. You don't understand. This is a remake." She's like, "Wait, so it's a new game?" I'm like, No. When I was a kid, whatever. It's so funny, but yeah, man, I can't believe we're actually playing it. Do you think we'll be able to fight? I would really be upset if they didn't include Emerald and Ruby weapon.
I think it's gonna happen. I haven't seen them, but
I'd be like, that would be so freaking cool. Remember Emerald weapon going down in the ocean?
Actually, no, sorry, they did. I have seen one of the weapons. So they're definitely in there. I have seen one. One
of those two. Oh man, that's exciting.
And Junon, towards the end of Junon, because I can't remember in the original game if it's the first time you go to Junon or you go back to Junon, but I was like, wait, where did the whole like Scarlet fight happen and all that? Because I did the whole Junon thing and none of that really happened, or them firing that weapon and all that. Because I remember cutscenes based around like the Junon cannon, like firing a big cannon at like weapon coming up on land.
Was that what was the name of that weapon? Wasn't it like Diamond or something? Is that the white weapon or the gray one floating around? I can't remember. It's been so long.
Anyway, none of that happened whenever I went to Junon here, even though I like saw the cannon and all that and did the whole march stuff and whatever, which awesome. It went way better than expected too. It was really so good. Anyway,
oh man, I can't wait.
Regardless,
I'm excited.
None of that took place, so I'm like, maybe you end up going back to Junon, and but I don't remember how the original game even played out there. But
all right,
regardless, yeah, I mean, it's incredible, and it's
I'm sure this game will be on our. This is like when we were playing Elden Ring, where we kept talking about the same game every week for a while.
Yeah. New Game Watch will get out of here. Now, we didn't do one last week, so it's going to be last week's and this week, so it's a longer list here. But Akira, PlayStation 5, PlayStation VR 2, March 8th. Unicorn Overlord, March 8th. PlayStation, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4, and Switch. WWE 2K. So, I still want to play the demo to that, and I still haven't. But again, too busy with Final Fantasy. WWE 2K24, all platforms but Switch, March 8th. Contra Operation Galuga. Apparently this game sucks. Comes out March 12th, all platforms. Melatonin, PlayStation 5, March 12th. Passing By, A Tailwind Journey, Switch and PC, March 12th. Lumasoft, The Jeff Winter Story, PC, March 13th. Cartel Tycoon, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, March 14th. Guilt, Switch, March 14th. Highwater, PlayStation, all platforms, March 14th. Lawn Mowing Simulator. Of all the simulators, weirdly, this is the one I would play. Switch, March 14th.
Mow some lawns, baby.
Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection. I am interested in this. All platforms, March 14th. I was thinking, like, just play it like Switch or something like that. Be really cool playing, like, online Battlefront matches and everything. But the problem is, it kind of makes me want to play PC because I'm thinking, like, the mod space because...
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't know, the possibilities are endless of all these crazy cool creatures you could play as or all this. I don't know. It'd be neat. Anyway, What the Golf, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, March 14th. Kingdom Come Deliverance Royal Edition is hitting Switch, March 15th. Outcast A New Beginning, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, PC, March 15th. Hades is hitting iOS, March 19th. Hi-Fi Rush is hitting PlayStation 5, March 19th. Lightyear Frontier, Xbox Series X and S, PC, March 19th. MLB The Show 24, hitting all platforms, March 19th. Alone in the Dark 2024. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, PC, March 20th.
There we go.
All right. So, here's the things. Like, I remember when I was playing Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, and I was like, I think this may be, like, the best game ever made. And so, when I'm playing Rebirth, I was wondering, is this going to be a thing that happens with me? Of like, this is my new favorite game or something? Because Final Fantasy VII is... or I guess what? I don't know. I don't know what to do with Tears of the Kingdom. I don't know what to do with Metal Gear Solid 4, Final Fantasy 7. I guess they can all three join the room together.
Just join all the party together.
And I'll decide different depending on the day. But this Rebirth, this is different. This is like, this is more of like, oh, this is like a favorite. Like, where when I'm thinking Tears of the Kingdom, when I say it's like one of the best games ever made, I'm meaning like on a like creation level, on a like a how it was designed. I think it's one of the best like made. Like, it could be an argument of like one of the best created video games to ever exist in terms of its creation of it and how it's designed and all that. The same with Final Fantasy VII. Like, back originally PS1, I mean, there was nothing even close to it in terms of all the things it was accomplishing and all of that. And then, so that's how I see that. But then it starts me wonder of like, well, this is just more of like, I'm just so happy by just seeing all of the areas come to life in the most way better than I was ever expecting, of like how an area just looks running around it. It's just mind blowing compared to what was in my head on how the original, and it's they somehow just achieved what all of our imaginations of like, if this game were to come out in this time period 20 or 30 years later, this is how it would be. And it hit that, and it even exceeded expectations. So it's more of like, this is just such like a like favorite moment in gaming kind of thing with me. Yeah. Now, is it like the best game designed ever thing? I still would maybe put Tears of the Kingdom over this game and its exploration. Same with like Elden Ring and Tears of the Kingdom are so good about like, I don't know, every 10 to 15 steps or some crazy cool thing you're discovering for the first time that just blows your mind and all of that. That doesn't happen with this game. Like it's mixing it up a ton, but yes, it's still following a formula to where those games do not follow a formula. Maybe in some loose way or something, but not really. I don't know. There's something so incredibly different and unexpected around every corner when you're playing Tears of the Kingdom or when you're playing Elden Ring. You know what I mean? There was so much shock factor constantly. I'm not like getting shock factored constantly by something unexpected leaping around the corner, you know? This is more of just like, I guess, the shock factor in the matter of like, I can't believe how just good this is and how great this looks and how fun the combat is, which we didn't even touch, but the combat is, I don't know how they did such a huge leap from Remake, because I thought the combat was great in Remake. I had no issues with it. Now it looks so basic compared to this game's combat. I mean, this game is on a whole other level. The combat is so good in this game. So
it's great, man. It's great. They've done an awesome job with this. So anyway,
but I was thinking about that, and I was sitting there thinking like, it's very different. It's more of just like, this is just feeding like my fangirlism over the game to such great heights. This is more of how I felt when I was playing Metal Gear Solid 4. Of like, man, it is feeding all of those like little lore things that I love about the Metal Gear Solid series, and just answering so many things, but bringing so many new questions in and all that. And that's basically how Rebirth is kind of treating me with this. So it's on that kind of front with me, to where Tears of the Kingdom and Elden Ring is just more on like holy crap, this is like, these are more of like, if somebody were to submit it into like where we all have to agree on like what's just the greatest game made, you know, I don't know if I could put, well, I don't know, like Rebirth, maybe it could, I don't know, but I don't feel I could, let's say Metal Gear Solid 4, since I've completed that. There's no way I'm submitting that into the casting of what's the greatest game ever created, right? But I could totally see me throwing down a card for Elden Ring, or throw down a card for Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom, that's the thing. No, I'm totally with you on that. Yeah.
Now I don't know how this is going to turn out with like this Rebirth. I mean, this could hit both a fangirl perfect 10 out of 10 and just an incredible game. I mean, what I've played so far, I mean, it's so good. So we'll see, but
it's so much fun, man. I just can't wait to go play, honestly.
If the combat wasn't as good as what it was, maybe these activities after like the third or fourth time doing it would feel. Yeah. But here's the thing is, every time I get into like, I'm purposely trying to find that next big battle to test my skills instead of just like the random mobs, because I want more time with an enemy. I genuinely do, because I want to be able to like, I got to learn a new skill, I got a new material, I want to try this, I want to try that. Well, I need to be able to like, I want to try to hit them long enough so I can stagger them, so I could try a new technique out or something. And whenever I can't really like fully flesh that out on like random mobs. So I've been noticing so much throughout this game where I'm purposely seeking out like the hardest thing I could fight in the area to try this or that out on them, which is really cool. So
it's an awesome game. Great time to be a gamer, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's still happening. Like I thought, oh, like 2023, this is easily the best year in gaming, but somehow we're like how far into 2024 and it still just keeps happening and more just keeps flooding in and it just won't stop. It's wild.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, I'm not trying to finish this, but I'm trying to finish this so I can play Persona 3 Reload. I was having a blast with it, but I had to stop. I was having a blast with Helldivers even. All right. Well, I'll see y'all.
All right. Later, guys.